Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Hall Walt and Baca Wines Friday Happy Hour. It's been a long time since I had a chance to host this show, and I'm pretty excited about being back on a Friday, especially with the opportunity to actually be able to drink wine and stay at home, which is going to be a great thing to kick off my weekend. I hope you are all doing the same thing, and if you're not, please log on right now to Walt Wines, Hall Wines, or BacaWines.com. This is the last weekend where our red, white, and new set will be on special. So if you want to make sure that you grab that, because by the end of the month, it's going to be all over. And I think that's today. So be sure to get that going. But don't worry, we'll have something for you next week, because we're going to continue with these virtual happy hours throughout the next couple weeks and even through September. And we've got some incredible guests like Tori Spelling coming on in the coming weeks on our Instagram for Hall Wines. We've also got Brandy Wilkerson on Tuesday on the Walt Wines Happy Hour. And next Friday, check us out right here on this Facebook Live, where you'll have the opportunity to go through our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir in depth with our winemakers, Catherine Hall, and our director of vineyards, Dong Monk. So that's really very exciting for us. And I'm super excited that we'll be able to keep going. As some of you I know are still kind of staying at home like most of us, hope we'll give you a little bit of fun in your afternoon. As always, we want to make sure that we're thanking the people that are helping us out. So our heartfelt thanks goes out to the first responders who are keeping us healthy and keeping us safe, and those frontline workers that are out there doing everything they can to make sure our lives keep going on a normal pace. To that, we do have our tasting rooms open. We don't consider ourselves frontline workers, but we do consider almost 2 acres of property for you to stretch out. And also our Rutherford property, where we're tasting now exclusively on the patio with nothing but a 270-degree view of the Napa Valley. So I hope that you'll come to Napa, Sonoma, visit us in Healdsburg. All of these experiences are terrific, and we really appreciate those of you who have made the journey. But as always, we have some incredible guests who are coming on with us on these shows, and today is no different. He is a gentleman who's not only a successful restaurateur in his own right, he's a Cordon Bleu trained chef, and he's the host of a fantastic show called Food Truck Nation. It just got started on its 2nd season right before things started to get a little weird. So it's still going to happen. And I'm hoping that Brad Miller, if you're out there, you can come check us out and hang out with the happy hour.
How's it going?
It's great, man. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here and taste some amazing wines.
Well, I appreciate that. And I wish you were here doing it with me personally, because as a chef, I'm a novice, and I appreciate any help that you can give me and our viewers today in how to prepare some easy dishes, hopefully for the summer and as we come into the fall.
Yeah, any questions, I'm happy to help. And I was just speaking earlier about how there's no question that is like too simple, or I don't want to ask a chef this, because I find out from traveling so much and eating out and having the show that people don't know a lot of the things that I think that people know. So the simple questions are always
right.
The most fun, and it's great to get everybody's opinion on how to cook something. And it's just, food's fun, keep cooking, and we're just gonna have a great time too.
Yeah, I absolutely. So before we get started, I wanted to demystify our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir for you, if that's all right.
Yes.
We have 3 wines that we're tasting today. You're going to help me go through our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir from our Walt brand, our Cat's Cradle, which is a vineyard from the Rockpile region in Sonoma, and then, of course, Catherine Hall, which is a real treat for us today to be able to feature those 3 wines for you. So if you had got a glass, I think right now, I don't know which way the internet wants me to do this.
Oh, I think I got it.
There we go. Okay.
Got it.
All right. And voila.
Oh,
Success.
You didn't even spill a drop either.
There it is. Through the joy of the internet. My dad was just telling me yesterday he really loves these passes. When they work, they work. It's great. So thank you. Cheers to you. Thanks for coming on the show. Take a minute to enjoy some wine. So congratulations on your 2nd season. How's that going? What can we expect in this upcoming season?
Well, so as everybody knows, things are up in the air everywhere right now. But
right.
Season 2 is airing currently on Cooking Channel and Destination America. So it's on Cooking Channel, and it's also on Destination America. So it's airing all the episodes, different times, different days. You can check the cookingchannel.com for when they're going to air. Destination America also for times when it's going to air. So it's airing on two different. It's all owned by the same network, but which is Scripps, but it's airing on two different kind of show networks. So it's airing right now, and you're going to see a lot of really, really fun episodes, really cool food, and honestly, just dropping a lot of knowledge too about food and how food trucks are done.
So I checked it out actually on Hulu, which I think is also carrying the show. And it was cool. I was like, you're just kind of running roughshod through the streets of different towns, checking out different kinds of food. And I know that, you're in the LA area, if I'm right. You're in Topanga?
Well, yeah.
Woodland Hills?
Topanga and Woodland Hills, yes.
Yeah, and that's where, LA is kind of that's the hotbed of food trucks, right? That was Koji. That was the start of, where a Michelin, starred chef took his food to the streets. So tell me, if you could tell me a little bit about that, since I have very little experience. We have the Girl in the Fig here with the Fig Rig, which is a great food truck in Sonoma, but and the Mayor actually has her own fried chicken truck. But
I did not know that.
What is that? Rachel, if you're watching, I just gave you a shout out for your food truck. So what is the drive? Like what, you can do some really good food. And so why are so many of these, incredible chefs picking a truck?
Well, I think it's because when you have a restaurant, you have to kind of confine yourself to what that neighborhood wants, what that neighborhood needs, and you kind of have to have your niche. When you have a food truck, you can kind of go and do what you want. You can do the food you've always wanted to cook. You don't have to worry about the neighborhood you're in. You don't have to worry about rent. You can kind of experiment a little more.
Yeah.
And everything knows with experimentation comes like amazing food, comes great things when you get to like kind of really release and let the rent, you don't have to worry about the $30,000 rent. You don't have to worry about a staff of 100. You just go, I want to cook this food. I think this dish is amazing. This is what I want to do. Let's open a food truck. And you get amazing food from it. I mean, just these chefs are doing things that I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing this off a food truck? And they show you, you're like, yeah, that's extraordinary.
Well, it's like, you've cooked in, I think, Michelin rated. You've been a Michelin rated chef. You've owned some famous restaurants, or some very well known restaurants at least. So how do you downsize from 7 different chefs? You have a pastry chef. You have 3 different chefs that's coming off the line for one dish sometimes. How do you distill all of that into like 10 feet?
Yeah, well, the hardest part is you have to really. You can't have like, oh, we have the Chateaubriand, and then we're gonna have the the quail. You have to say, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna do it very, very well, and that's kind of where food trucks come in. Is the chef does one thing, and he or she does it so well that they end up opening up a food truck dedicated to that one thing that they're doing so well. There'd be burgers, crepes, pizza. I've seen some ice cream that you're doing to order with liquid nitrogen. And it's just the most amazing foods. I think you're getting better food out of food trucks.
Really? I'm gonna have to come eat with you, man. I'm gonna next time I'm down in LA. I'm gonna
the food's better because you're focusing on one thing and you're doing it really well. And anytime you do that with wine, with food, you're just winning all the time. When you take one thing and you just throw all your energy into it.
Absolutely, I will drink to that. So this is, by the way, this is Brad Miller from Food Truck Nation. He's also a Cordon Bleu trained chef, owns his own restaurants. So we have some questions for our audience who may not know you, to get to know you a little better. So I've got some quick fire questions, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
All right, let's fire it up. So what drink did you have with dinner last night?
With dinner, we had I had 3 different.
Sound like me.
I ended on a Pinot. I've been on a Pinot kick lately.
All right, cool. Excellent. Well, that's good for me. I'm the general manager for Walt Wines, so we do make Pinot and Chardonnay. What's the most frequently app used on your phone?
Vivino. I'm being serious. Not just saying it. Vivino.
I love that app. So here's to you, Galoni. Most unique food you've eaten off a food truck.
Off a food truck, it had to be the nacho cheese, the nacho burger It was a burger that was encrusted in
Nacho.
nachos with guacamole, olives. The bun was like made of nachos also. So when you bit into it, the burger tasted exactly like ballpark nachos. It was insane.
That's awesome. And it's Friday at 4:30 Pacific for those of you who are on the East Coast. But I just apologize, ahead of time because you guys, if you held out for us for dinner, that sounded delicious. Furthest you've traveled for an episode?
The furthest has to be. I mean, since I'm in California, we went to North Carolina. North Carolina was it's a pretty far trip. We stayed in the West Coast for the first season. We kind of ventured out, but definitely North Carolina was pretty far, and it was unbelievable. The food there was unbelievable, and I think I know food, and I was shocked, but how much I didn't know how great of a job they're doing.
I actually had some food truck food in Asheville, North Carolina. So if you haven't gotten there for a show yet.
Yeah, we went to Asheville or Chapel Hill. We hit all of them.
Asheville for me. I love that town. All right, and the last question is, because I'm going to ask you for some help on cooking in a second. So if you had one superpower, what would your superpower be?
To never burn anything ever. That's my superpower. It would save me a lot of time and a lot of money in the restaurant.
This is true. I will drink to that. So when you came on, I'm a decent chef. I can make my way through the kitchen okay. But one of the hardest things to do is actually cook an egg. So we were hoping that you could help me with cooking an egg, and to the best that I can do over here in my little kitchen, I'm going to try to emulate that.
So what I'm going to do is I'll break it down for you, and then we can do it piece by piece. Okay. But to do a hard-boiled egg, which everybody's like, hard-boiled egg, you just cook it till it's done, right? That's how you get the green. You get that sulfur taste to it. The perfect hard-boiled egg, pot of water. It can be cold. It can be hot. It can be whatever, not boiling. Put your eggs in a cold pot of water or room temp. Bring it to a boil for 10 minutes, 10-minute timer. After 10 minutes, kill the heat, put a lid on it, off to the side, 10 minutes. Take the lid off, pour out the water, run cold water on it. The perfect hard-boiled egg for salad niçoise, egg salad, anything you want to do. First of all, put your eggs in the water.
Okay, so I got water, and I have this thermometer.
You're not going to need that.
Okay, so
boiling it D12. So once it boils,
got rid of that. I got 2 eggs.
Throw them in.
Okay.
Gently throw them.
They're in the water. Yeah. Okay, and now I've lost my earphones. Turn it on.
Turn it on. Full blast to a boil.
Full blast.
Full blast. You want the
largest burner or smallest burner or
whatever's gonna boil it quicker. So maybe a large burner.
But, you should be drinking while you're working. This is important.
That's good advice. That is
there
the best.
You go.
Or while you're watching work.
Okay, so it is on now, and we're gonna leave it for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna ask somebody who's from the winery who's helping me out to let me know via text when 10 minutes comes up.
10 minutes. So when it comes to a boil.
Oh, okay.
10 minutes.
Well, we're gonna need to super boil this then. We'll turn it up a little bit.
Boil for 10 minutes, and then you're gonna shut it off, and then we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes with a lid on it.
All right. So that wine that you just had, we'll just drink some wine and answer some questions. That sounds like fun. So the first one you had was our Bob's Ranch, which is our signature wine for our portfolio. The other wine that we have today is our Catherine Hall. That's the signature wine for our Hall Cabernet portfolio. We'll get to that in just a second. But in the meantime, I have a Baca wine. So this is our 2018 Cat's Cradle. Baca is a Zinfandel. It's a new brand for us. It's actually made by Megan and Allison, our winemakers. And if I could pass you the bottle, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do.
Absolutely.
So I think the internet goes that way. There we go.
Oh, it's heavy.
You got the Magnum. I'm just kidding. We don't actually make Magnums for vodka.
By the way, I got to get that Pinot.
Thank you.
That's an amazing Pinot. Wow.
So it's an incredible wine made out of the Petaluma Wind Gap, which is an area that I live in. And we get really small berries and we get big berries in the same cluster. And it produces wine that has an amazing amount of freshness, this is the vineyard in the wintertime, amazing amount of freshness, a lot of concentration and power. And so when we put these 3 wines together today, we were trying to keep them all in terms of a tasting definitely in the more powerful, more ambitiously concentrated wines. So that for us, Bob's Ranch is really the pinnacle of what we can do out there. And then just north of it, which is only about 35 minutes straight up the Highway 101, is the Rockpile region, which is just outside of Dry Creek in Healdsburg. And that's where this wine comes from. It's actually 2 vineyards. The majority of it comes from the Moritzen family. So if you're familiar with Moritzen's wines, Clay Moritzen's a good friend of ours and a good friend of the winery. And Rockpile is this area that no one goes to. It kind of looks like a moonscape if you get up there. I don't know if you've ever been to Sonoma Lake, which is on kind of the northern part. Not a lot. It's not a big lake, but it produces a maritime climate for what is a very dry, arid area. So you end up with a softening influence on these wines, where you get that big minerality, that big flavor, but it also has this really lovely mid palate, and that's what I love about this Zinfandel. I'm interested in your take on it, though. You're a taste maker, so
yeah. Let me see. I'm a fan of all wine, but I'm a fan of Zin. And like okay. I was just actually saying this earlier to someone I was talking to earlier today, and they were asking about, we were talking about wine a little bit, and they're like, "What are you getting into?" I'm like, "Of course, I'm a big Cab guy. Cabernet Sauvignon. Who isn't?" Right. But I mean, Pinot. I mean, I've been really loving my Pinots lately. And then, literally, I was getting into Zins too. I mean, of course, I'm a big Zin guy, so I love pairing Zin, because Pinot's fun to pair. Cab is easy to pair, I would say. But right. Zin, you can have a little more fun. You can have a little more fun with some game meats. A little, it gets
absolutely, yeah. It's so Zinfandel not only, and please take a sip and we can get back to it. But Zinfandel is it's California's only native grape, so it mutates a lot, just like Pinot Noir. And so the version of Zinfandel that we have is different from the version that we have that's grown in Croatia or Italy or other parts of the world, where it's somewhat like Zinfandel. But in California, it's so much different. So I'm interested if you've got a take on this one.
Yeah, am I getting like a little blackberry and Bing cherry? Man,
yep.
And cherry season right now. I mean, this cherry season is crazy. Yeah. I went to the farmer's market, and I tried to buy 4 cases of cherries, and they're like, "Sir, we can't sell you all of them." And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. But now, I mean, I'm seriously tasting this Zin. I'm like, I got to go back on Sunday, and I'm getting all those cherries, and I now have an idea. I'm thinking of dessert: black pepper, cherries, sour cream ice cream.
Awesome. That's a great. I was going to say, so cherries, for those of you who are watching at home, might be the new coronavirus quarantine shortfall. So go grab your cherries. And how would you put something like that together? Because that sounds delicious.
Well, so what I would do, honestly, just for this, I would use the Zin, and I would cook the cherries in the Zinfandel. And the old saying of don't ever cook with a wine you wouldn't drink, I stick by that. So I would use a little of the Zin, some sugar, vanilla, a little vanilla bean. Just bring it up to a simmer, turn it off, let it cool, pour that over some ice cream, follow it with a little bit of the Zin, or if you got some yellow cake. You don't really think about this with dessert, but I'm telling it can work. It can work really well.
No, I actually, at a lot of wine dinners, we pair, because there's so much reduction that goes into making sauces for desserts. And they use a lot of wine, or they use a lot of other, they use blackberries and cherries, and those are very complementary to Zinfandel for sure. So we'll pair often a Zinfandel with dessert. And for me, I like that. I mean, I love dessert wines, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But if I can keep drinking some table wine before I get to that sweet wine, just keep lining them up, because that's how I like to.
You think like I do. I'm like, let me try to keep drinking the table wine a little longer before I get into my port or whatever I'm going to have with dessert.
Well, because port, when you get to port, that's going to be the spike, right? That's when the night goes from, it's a great time to many to get an Uber home. So
it's the old, I don't want the night to end. And when the port comes, or the dessert wine, I'm like, okay, everybody's starting to wind down.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm starting to see some boiling going on here. So it's tough for you to see, I know.
I'm looking at the timer right now. So if it's been boiling for a minute, you can go another 8 minutes. You'll be fine.
Got it. Okay, cool. We'll be all right. So what's going on with the show right now? How are you guys doing with filming, and how hard is it to get a crew out to do the shows?
Right now, it's impossible. That's the word I'm searching for to
Yeah.
get a crew out. And honestly, it's not just that we want to get filming. We can't. We want everybody to be safe. I mean, I'd rather have everybody being safe because when you're filming, it's not just going to like a restaurant when people are working. When you're filming, we're all staying in the same hotel. We're all together eating lunch. I mean, we're all together. So if one person has it, it's going to be bad. So it's good that nobody's kind of doing the filming right now, but because everybody wants to be safe. But we're definitely we finished season 2. It airs it aired on Cooking Channel. It's airing on Destination America because I think they speed it up by getting it out there because content is king and everybody's missing it right now.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's all over right now. Hulu, like you were saying, Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon, so you can find them. As far as season 3, that's kind of up in the air right now with everything. But I filmed a couple episodes. I filmed 6 episodes of Best Thing I Ever Ate, and that's on Cooking Channel and Food Network, and that will be airing. That's always airing. So just keep checking local. Checking.
So your IMDb is just growing right now.
Yeah, yeah. I've done quite a bit, but now I just do the ones that are really, really fun. That's my resume. Like when somebody presents a show to me, like, is it going to be really fun? I'm in. No more working.
Well, I appreciate you coming on our little show, our little produced show where I've got my camera and my kitchen and my wife in the background and everything's just right in front of me.
This is the show I want to be on, the one that just you can drink wine and talk.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had some good luck, and the incredible part for me is I've had the opportunity to meet people like you, Brad. I've had a chance to meet actresses and actors and CBS reporters. I mean, I get to go out into the country and host dinners in restaurants, but this is a cool, rare opportunity for me.
Well, future hosting, I can by the cadence of your voice and everything, you can host. We'll get you a show.
My friend Pedro Gomez from ESPN gave me a whole bunch of good points. So Pedro, if you're watching right now, thank you. Appreciate it. So I've got one more wine I want us to try, and this is literally the reason that I started working for the winery. So it's very special, not only in quality, but it's a very special wine to me. So this is our 2017 Catherine Hall Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a wine that is only available right now to Wine Club members, Brad and I. That's it. All the other people can't drink this wine, but you can join the club and you can order this wine, and maybe I'm just kidding. We'll ship it to you right away. So if that's all right, I'm going to try to pass that over to you.
Yeah,
you got it. Okay.
Got it.
All right. And bang, it spun on its way there.
That was me. I put a little spin on it.
You a little spin on it. Okay. Right. As you pour it, you put a little more spin. I see it spun around for me.
Already, I just poured it, and it's wow.
Yeah. Big. This is 2017, so the year was very warm for us. So we had. This is the first kind of out of drought year, and I know as a chef you can appreciate that. The vines were much healthier, the vineyards were much healthier. In general, all of our agriculture in California was much healthier after 2017's rains, and it left us with the ability to weather this huge heat spike that went through the vineyards, especially in the late August, early September periods. And then obviously we moved into October for harvest. But this is primarily from the Halls Vineyard. So this is from a vineyard called Sacrochet. It sits on the bluff above the Auberge du Soleil. If you've ever had a chance to go to Napa and stay at the Auberge or eat at the restaurant, they look down on it. And so you can see how it's an undulating hillside. There are actually 19 sub-blocks of Cabernet planted amongst the 33 acres. And so it's a little like Bob's Ranch. It's only a little bit more specific, so that we can actually pick and harvest individually within those blocks. We can water within those blocks. And what we're looking for, and you can kind of see it to a certain extent, there's a white volcanic ash that just falls out over the entirety of the vineyard. And that's what really, for me, that's the mineral component in this wine. Every year at harvest, I'm always looking for it. I'm always thinking about it. And then it's got this kind of black truffle mushroom. And I think in 17, as opposed to prior years, what's really standing out for me is the black fruit in this wine. The dark, brooding fruit. A little tannic. This is a very tannic vintage, 2017. and it's a little bit of a baby. So you're not really getting the red fruit that's really going to complement this one on the back end, but it's there. It's beautiful.
Because of these tannins, I mean, this is automatically makes me want to pair this with food. This is the kind of thing I could drink on its own. This is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful wine. But this is already going to go with tonight, the ribeyes that I have marinating.
Right now. Yeah.
So I'm already doing a ribeye with it and a little bit of black truffle shave. I mean, not everybody can have the black truffle, but it's going to be great.
Well, I mean, black truffle is a good thing to do with that. So ribeye, I'm a ribeye guy. I was a Morton Steakhouse guy. So what's your rub? What's your go-to? How are you gonna get that ribeye ready?
So I think every chef has a different rub for his ribeye and for all of his steaks. I have a little cheat method I do. Not at the restaurant. At the restaurant, we dehydrate garlic, we dehydrate onion, pepper. But at home, there is I use Kansas City steak seasoning. It is the hidden. And I thought I was the only one who discovered just put Kansas City steak seasoning. No one's gonna know it's delicious. And then I saw an interview with Grant Atchez of Alinea in Chicago, 3 Michelin stars. He's like, just use Kansas City steak. I'm like, oh my gosh, great minds. Because that's all I do is just a little Kansas City steak seasoning. And I like to either sear it or on the grill, kind of slow on the grill actually, which a lot of people don't. Slow on the grill, let it rest for a long time. And then I just brown butter in a pan and thyme and garlic, let it all get aromatic. And then I put the steak back in there and just flip some butter on it. And I don't serve it with anything. I serve it with the steak, maybe a little broccolini on the side. But I just do that, and I'll do a little fresh shaved truffle over it. Okay. And now I have my Catherine Hall. So
yes, and then you got this. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you talking about the ribeyes. Ribeye is a steak that you want that fat to get into the meat, and you don't want to be chiseling around it while you're So the whole goal for a ribeye for me is exactly the same. You do a Pittsburgh, then it goes on the grill, and then you just slow cook it until you get that temperature that you want, and then knock it out. I'm a little bit more medium rare plus. I don't know. What about you?
I'm always medium rare to medium. I'm glad you said that because a lot of people want to, buy into the medium rare. Medium rare is the way to go. But just like anything, when you heat the ribeye, it has the fat in it. You want to really bring out the fat in the meat to penetrate the muscle to really get that flavor going on in the ribeye. So when you have it rare or really medium rare, you don't get the flavor of the ribeye. You really want to go medium rare to medium. Perfect. And then you get all the flavors of the ribeye. You get a little of that charred, which is going to go great with the wine, and it's all going to flow so well.
I absolutely agree. That is the way to cook. All right, so we're going to come back to this egg real fast, and then for those of you who are tuning in, I have Brad Miller from Food Truck. From I forgot.
Food Truck Nation.
Show. Food Truck Nation. Thank you. I'm so sorry about that. So I've got Brad Miller from Food Truck Nation. You can find him on Amazon Prime, and he's helping me cook right now. So
we're cooking eggs right now, we might be overcooking eggs, Jeff.
Okay, so all right, so I've got a little tool here. I've got just a normal black spatula, and do I take it out of the water?
Well, it's kind of a long process. You want to turn the heat off, put a lid on it for 10 minutes, and then after 10 minutes, it's run on cold water. Perfect egg.
So leave it back in the water is what you're saying.
Leave it in the water, a lid on it.
Okay.
And in 10 minutes, cold water, and peel it while it's still a little warm. That's the key to getting that great peel that you see in restaurants. Egg has no nail marks in it.
Yeah, no. That's like what every egg I make looks like. Those little eggs. Well, I would love to take some questions from the viewers who are tuning in. I think we had a couple people who are interested in joining us for some questions. So, first question out is, what is a good quick meal, and what's the best Pinot to pair with it? I think the Pinot question I'm gonna ask, not to ask.
A good quick meal. I mean, I would honestly say, for me, if you want to do, I like a good seasoned. A lot of people don't do pork chops.
Okay.
I would just say a pork loin, just salt and pepper rubbed, olive oil, rosemary, and just grill it nice and slow, beautifully to medium, and then just sliced. You don't have to put anything with it. Just sliced off in a little. You have your Pinot with it. I think that's the best way to eat. I like to eat simple though when I'm at home.
I absolutely agree that I've got 3 little girls at home, and when I get home from the winery, it's like time to get cooking. So the faster I can get from point A to point B, that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Unless the wine's really great, and then I try to make it last a little bit longer, so I can have a couple glasses of wine while I'm waiting for the food.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's why you have that second bottle ready, right? So
Yeah.
we're doing 3 different wines today. You're going to be in good shape for dinner tonight.
Exactly.
All right. So we asked this question to you at the beginning, but we've got a viewer who asked it again. So if that's all right. So what's the best thing you've had from a food truck recently?
So that was the craziest thing I had was the nacho cheese.
Right.
Cheeseburger. That was the craziest. But I think the best thing I had off a food truck was in Portland, Oregon. I had this ramen. I had Portland, Oregon ramen. And it blew my mind ramen off a food truck. So if anybody knows anything about ramen, they know it is extraordinarily time consuming, and you need big cauldrons and pots, and you need all these things to make ramen. And they're doing it all.
You're building flavor through water boil, right? Like it's the slowest thing ever.
Your pork bones, and then that goes into a different pot, and that reduces with different vegetables and different like star anise. Whatever you're doing, you have to reduce, and it takes about 3 huge pots. And they did this amazing ramen. It's called Ramen PDX. So shout out to them. And they are doing such an amazing job. And I was shocked. Kind of shocked. I was like, wow. And I live in LA. There's very good restaurants and very good ramen in LA. And I was like, you are insanely good. Yeah.
Well, it's one of the food meccas, right, of the United States, or if not the world. And then it's also where all of the best food trucks have been, storing up. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not sure how you boil a whole kitchen of chefs down to 10 feet, but, clearly we've got that going for us.
Yeah, and they make it happen, and I'm always extraordinarily impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was it say? So you've been probably eating at food trucks, and the next question is a little bit more related to current events. But basically, what are some basic signs we can look for where we go, you know what, that's a truck that I can eat at. That's a truck that I think has been following some safe protocols.
This is not getting too gross. Okay, I'm going to preface. But
that's okay.
You want to see, besides distancing, besides everybody wearing masks, you want to see they're going to have gloves on, and you want to make sure that they're not handing you money, cash back with the glove on, taking somebody else's glove. That is the big one. You want to see either credit card only, or a pay, swipe or whatever you want to do, and not so much cash. If they are doing cash, changing out their gloves constantly, or the person handling the cash is not touching anything else. They're just handling the cash. That's the main thing you want to look for.
I was going to say that transcends the current environment that we're in. I remember I always appreciated when they had
taking your burger than handling cash. I would just say, I'm good, I already ate, and then walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was also, I always appreciated when they had like a cashier outside. This is back in the day when I was, eating off of food trucks when I was working for warehouses in my high school days. And I'd say, they've got one person doing the money and another person doing the food. I'm okay.
It's already working.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and I want to make sure that we come back to this egg. So we've got, for those of you who are looking at home, what we did was we cooked this egg for 10 minutes in a boil, right? And then now we've got it coming out. And now you want me to take this egg and you want me to take the shell off, right? That's how it looks.
If you want to rinse it, maybe a little cold water first, just so you don't burn yourself.
I'm going to disappear over here.
I'll talk to
cold
you.
Water.
I'll be talking to
All
you.
Right. Okay.
I'll walk you through it. So run under some cold water.
So I got the egg and I can handle the heat. Okay.
Peel from the bottom. It's going to be the
bottom of the egg?
The bottom of the egg, not the tip.
Okay. So it's falling off nicely, actually.
Yeah. Always if you got hot hands, if you can do it while it's hot, then that's the best way to do it. I mean,
I can handle this. And there are no fingernails in it, which is great. So I'm making my way through it. This looks good? And
it
then
looks good.
It's
perfect.
Off.
Look how easy that came off.
So it's the little
thing.
So you know, I had to shortcut.
Oh, my. A very produced show this is. Very produced.
Brad, you're far better than I am, and I was not going to risk being on camera and screwing up your cooking, so I had to do it. But just so everyone knows at home, I think I actually did do it. I think I've actually got a chance of making a perfect hard-boiled egg. So thank you, Brad, for showing me that. Wanted to see if you wanted to say anything to the crowd. You've been so generous to your time, and you've got your show coming on and everything else that's going on in your life. So, we usually like to give our guests a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of these. Not even to promote the show, on cooking channels, on Destination America, Food Truck Nation Season 2. Not just that, and also Best Thing Ever Ate. Got that plug in, but now just honestly go out and support your local restaurants. It's local restaurants, local wineries, anything you can do that while it's safe to do it, and you feel safe being there, and you feel that they're properly, following the CDC guidelines. Go out there and really support everybody. Right now, a lot of local restaurants could really use your help, and really use wineries too. Nobody's immune what's going on right now. Nobody's immune, and even if you do it online, buying food, buying wine, just supporting your favorite wineries, your favorite food, your favorite restaurants. It really means a lot to the people that have dedicated a lot of time to making sure you get the best product when things aren't as crazy. So that's what I always want to say, is just go out and be as safe as possible and make sure they're being safe. But always support local and get out there and just honestly kind of keep the economy going. Let's just get the things. And everybody's at home right now. It's a great chance to order food. Order some wine online, and get cooking at home. It's fun to do, and order these packages that the restaurants are doing, and just always supporting the places you've always supported before.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And by the way, I was able to get the egg open, fully cooked.
It's beautiful.
I think it's a beautiful egg.
That's not your egg, right?
So Brad, this is the one I cooked. This is the actual egg. It's steaming a little bit, if you can see. Yeah,
I feel like a proud father right now that you made that perfectly.
You have a new career in education. You can go back to Cordon Bleu School, man. You can be the adjunct professor for Food Truck Nation. So everyone. So Brad, this is Brad Miller, by the way, from Food Truck Nation. Please feel free to check him out. Follow him on his Instagram and Facebook feeds, and then clearly ask him lots of questions about how to cook, because if he can make me make a great egg, he can probably succeed with all of you too. So thanks, Brad. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to cheers you to Pinot Noir, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Great wine. Oh, my gosh.
It is. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on Friday for our happy hour. We had a lot of fun with Brad, and we're going to continue to have a lot of fun when we head down to LA and see him. For those of you who are looking to follow us on waltwines.com, hallwines.com, and bacawines.com, those are the three wines that we tasted today. Our Catherine Hall Cabernet Sauvignon, which is only available to members right now. Our Baca Cat's Cradle, which will release soon. There's a little bit of the 2017 left. And then our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir, which is actually going to release. And we will have a next week's show dedicated entirely to the Bob's Ranch vineyard. So be sure to check us out next week at 4 o'clock. We'll be back on Instagram next week with Baca, Walt, and Hall. And also check out our website, because we've got the last days of the Red, White, and New special that are ending any day now. I think it's probably any hour now, but I will check in with everyone at the winery. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us on Friday. Have a great afternoon, have a great evening, and a great weekend. Here's to all of you. Stay safe and stay healthy, and keep drinking wine.